Have you ever been desperate before? Desperate for an answer, desperate for a way out, a way in. Desperation. When we are desperate for something, we become laser focused, like solely driven. Our mind can't think on anything else. This morning, I want to challenge your desperate mindset to move it from desperation to abandonment. And when I say abandonment, I'm talking about abandoning everything the physical eye can see, abandoning what the world says, what man's plan is, and literally let your desperation drive you to abandoning those things so that you can focus only on God. In Mark chapter 1, verses probably around 38, Jesus was moving to a different place to preach. And he says, and a leper came to Jesus, beseeching him and falling on his knees before him, saying, if you are willing, you can make me clean. This man was defying, he was abandoning every law that was made because he was desperate. His desperation led him to abandon what he could see and what he knew, and he thrust to Jesus. And Jesus was moved with compassion, and he stretched out his hand and touched him. And I love that, because how long had it been since that man had actually been touched? He touched an untouchable because he was desperate, and he abandoned every law that would prevent him to get to God, to get to Jesus. And Jesus said to him, I'm willing, be cleansed. The lady with the issue of blood, she was desperate. She was willing to abandon everything. She was supposed to be unclean. She wasn't supposed to touch people. She'd spent all of her money. She had abandoned listening to what the doctors couldn't do. And she coached herself, and she said, if I can just touch the hem of my garment. Her desperation led to the abandonment of the impossible, to the possible. When we are going through things in life, hard things, even tragic things, it's really hard not to listen to the enemy, to cause us just to be in this pitiful situation, the pit being, in that place where we feel like there is no answer. Sometimes it gets to a place spiritually that we have to literally abandon the odds, abandon the impossible, and realize that all things are possible with God, and that we need to make our desperation make us abandon those things and to lean in heavily to Him in our mind, to reach out like the lady with the issue of blood, to touch the hem of the garment, so much that he felt the power leave him. Our desperation has to drive us to a place that we're willing to accept nothing less but to be in His presence, to be in His will, to seek that deliverance from Him. So today I'm going to challenge you to abandon the impossible, lean into the possible. Ephesians 3:20, God is able to do things far exceedingly abundantly more than we can ever imagine through the power that worketh through us. Lean into His word. Abandon what the enemy's telling you. Abandon the negativity. Abandon all those things. And be desperate and focused on the word of God and being in His presence and allowing Him to complete and fulfill His will and purpose in your life.